Hello, I'm Ben. Welcome to the channel. So today we're going to talk about 9 signs of a healthy company culture. And I got this from LinkedIn. I mentioned this gentleman once before, Justin Wright. I follow his page and get his newsletter, and that's where a lot of these that I use for thumbnails come from, the pictures and the charts. But I always speak to my background and the history that I've learned in my life as well. And I think that's what I hope that you're getting out of these videos as we go through them. But 9 signs of a healthy company culture. I think that's something you should consider in the interview process, and hopefully you have some money put away, or you're working a job that you're not crazy about or something like that specifically. And if you're in college or university and you're getting a bachelor's or master's or PhD and you kind of have an idea of where you're going, you want to make sure that the companies you're looking at, that you're actually seeing what you can before you join a company and you go through the interview process. We've made some videos on those recently, but it's something that shows respect from the jump. So let's jump into this healthy company culture and signs of such. Number 1 is employees feel heard and appreciated. That's something you can't know until you're with a company. Some companies do allow you to have a sit down or a shadow with teammates before you're hired, and that'd be a good time to ask these questions. But remember, these people were picked for a purpose, right? So you may not be able to believe everything at face value when it comes to those things, but employees feel heard and appreciated. I do think that is a sign of company culture, and I do think a very short period of time you can figure that out with the team there once you start a position. Number 2 is people are treated with trust and respect. That's huge. That is huge. If you see that people are treated with trust and respect, it means that the most, I guess, the biggest issue with company culture, or the screaming problem at any culture, would be micromanagement. And if people feel trusted and feel that they're treated with respect, that means micromanagement is not present, that they understand their role and they're allowed to perform their roles. So I think that is huge. Number 3 is everyone feels safe to be authentic. This has had a little bit more heat on it recently about diversity and inclusion. It actually has got nothing to do with that. Here's what it's got to do with. Everyone should be able to feel safe to be authentic. They should be able to be themselves and be welcome there just being themselves. You shouldn't have to have a rah-rah-ree or a cheerleading group about it. You shouldn't have to celebrate every freaking thing under the sun, but you should be able to go to work daily, do a great job with the team that supports you, that comes with a positive attitude and positive energy. That is where everyone should be able to be safe, psychologically safe, physically safe, and safe from any type of micromanaging or overly abusive leadership types or leadership styles. So I think that's what that means to me. Number 4 is leaders communicate openly and honestly. I think that's excellent, and you have one-on-ones that give you the opportunity to communicate with them on a regular, scheduled basis. So I don't think that the meetings have to specifically have scheduled topics, but they should be scheduled regularly where you have that time, and that is specifically your time to talk about the good and the bad. And that offers your leader the same time to give you feedback on the good and the bad, so you don't ever have to worry about annual reviews being specifically negative, because you're going to get to work on all those things of concern throughout the year because of those one-on-ones. So I think that's a great call out. Leaders communicate openly and honestly. Number 5 is people are growing and advancing in their careers. So that is a huge call out. If you see that people have worked at a company their entire life, if you go to a company's LinkedIn page and you look on there, and all the people on the team that are recruiting you, that you're going to, all of them have been there 5+ years, 10+ years, 20+ years. That is a huge screaming award-winning type title for that company. Because if you're able to keep people through the tumultuous times of the last 15 years, and they're happy and they're moving up through their careers, better pay, in different roles, that is huge. It just shows this great company opportunity. The company respects and appreciates their valued teammates, and they're keeping them under that roof because they value them so much, and the teammates feel valued. So that is great. And that also goes back to what we said about earlier, that psychological safety and that feeling of being welcome. It's not because people look like you or say things the way you do. It's just because we treat each other together with respect, dignity, and have that energy that is positive. So that's number 5. People are growing and advancing in their careers. Number 6 is teammates challenge other teammates, and they challenge other teammates' ideas respectfully. That's a great call out, and I think that is, depending on your role, that might have more relevance to the role you're in. Typically, when a teammate, especially training another teammate, that's sometimes when the feedback can get screwy there. So I think that's a great thing to monitor and to manage. But I do think that is a healthy company culture when teammates are respectful. I think that is great. 7, toxic behavior isn't tolerated for anyone, period. Fire them. I think that's an absolutely great call out. That's number 7. Toxic behavior isn't tolerated from anyone. The key word being anyone, right? So some companies might be sales organizations where salespeople or think they walk on water and they may be inappropriate in certain ways. Then you should fire that person. Even though they have the best production, they're still a toxic employee. You don't want to lose employees because one person is out of control. And in a management or leadership situation, if you have a toxic person, you'll see turnover that is consistent. And if companies see turnover that is consistent and they leave that person in place, then that tells you that company's culture is toxic, that you need to leave. I took a role one time, and on my 3rd or 4th week in, other people in my role told me that people last typically 2 years in that role at that company. That blew me away. I couldn't find that information outside the company anywhere, but that was known, and it was a problem from the day I was there to the day I left. I did last longer than 2 years, but ultimately, because of toxicity and because of disrespect between different departments, I got out of there. Toxic behavior isn't tolerated from anyone is number 7. Number 8 is people are promoted based on merit, not on politics or tenure. So if you got a place where you work and you're producing stellar results and you're teaching other people how to do it and you're leading teams and cultivating teams, then that is fantastic. You should be promoted and get increased pay based on what you did, not based on how long you've been there, who you knew, or who's your cousin. So I agree with that completely. People are promoted based on merit, not politics. That's number 8. Number 9 is the best ideas win, regardless of who they came from. Agree with that completely. It is utterly stupid for a company to hire people that they qualified, that had the resume and come in and not listen to what they say. That toxic company I was talking about, I left because the person that was the boss over where I was at did not listen to anyone. Took their own point of view, period. And then when it came time to do one-on-ones and assess their people in annual review, they wanted to tell their subordinates how they weren't performing, even though they wouldn't let the team perform the way they wanted to. So it was a toxic situation, and you have to do it my way, but then I'm going to grade you on my results that you carried out. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. If you're going to pay the money to hire the best people, then respect their ideas regardless based on their role. And that's extremely great, extremely strong. I like this slide. It's a very strong slide. I think it's specifically relevant. So that's 1 through 9 of 9 signs of a healthy company culture. And I hope the best for you guys in job searches and in roles that you're in. If you're at a job that you're unhappy at and you see that it has the majority of these things, then you want to work on that, because there's not a lot of companies out there like this. So if you may have a few things that are dead on, but not a lot of companies are banging on all 9 of these cylinders. So if you're in a company that you hit most, try to work on the other ones and help the company work on the other ones, because that's a screaming certification. They are a great place to be. They just have some things they need to narrow out. But if you're a company like the toxic one I mentioned, none of these were true. That's how bad the toxicity has gotten, and the company just allowed it to go that far. So great slide. If you like subjects such as these and commentary around things like these, please subscribe. Like to see you join the channel and see what comes up when we're adding stuff. I add stuff regular, monthly, sometimes it's weekly. But I'd love to have you. So like, subscribe, and share. I'm Ben. Be good.